So for the past few months, I've been asking a bunch of people on self-improvement what their biggest problem is, and here are the results. Before we get into it, why don't you go down in the comments and tell me what do you think is gonna be the biggest problem in self-improvement? I'm actually curious if you're gonna guess it, and that's gonna be important for later in the video. Okay? Thank you. So I have two polls. One is on YouTube and one is on Google Forms. And here is the one that I did on YouTube. Now keep in mind this is a smaller one, so the results here might not be as accurate as the ones in the Forms poll, but it seems that nofap here is leading by 39%, which is a pretty convincing lead, followed by the inability of sticking to habits. Now when I just started this poll, the latter one was actually dominating, but it seems that the fappers have made a big comeback. That was horrible, I'm sorry. So right now we have nofap clearly leading as the main villain of self-improvement, but it's not gonna change once we get the results from the Google Forms poll. Well, this is how the chart is looking, and as we can see, the blue one, whichever one it is clearly dominating, and the blue one is, in fact, drumroll please, nofap. If you said nofap in the comments, congratulations. 26% of people, which is more than a quarter of the responses, struggle with masturbation and porn addiction as the main problem in their life. Well, that is quite something. And to be honest, even though it is kind of sad, it is pretty sad actually, I'm not surprised by this. In fact, I expected exactly this. Isn't that alarming? Yes, a bunch of people in self-improvement YouTube space are talking about this and helping, but is anyone in real life actually doing anything about it? Are the schools mentioning it? Parents? Doctors? No, in fact, some of them are even saying that it's not a problem. When I just started nofap, I felt like I'm kind of doing this weird extreme thing that my doctor would tell me to stop. And yet 26% of people are struggling with a masturbation addiction. Of course, the sample of people that I collected here is not nearly enough to be considered an actual study. But the thing is, I think most of you have guessed what the number one problem is gonna be. We all know it is pretty obvious, because most of us had an 8-year-old addiction by the time we were 18 years old. And quitting it might have been one of the hardest things that we ever did, if we even managed to quit it. As much as it is sad though, it is kind of beautiful that there is this online community where young men help each other beat an addiction that they can't tell their parents about. So that is something. The second biggest problem of people on self-improvement, according to this poll, was instant gratification, things such as addiction to video games, social media, etc., followed by social skills and lack of consistency. Social skills is something that I expected to be right behind nofap, since this is something that I struggle with a lot and I see a lot of people in real life struggling with as well. But maybe I have underestimated how much people struggle with instant gratification. A lot of you are really addicted to Instagram and Minecraft, huh? Very few people chose diet or sleep as the problem that they're struggling with, and I would guess, if I can place a theory here, I would guess that maybe it's not because they don't struggle with it, it's because these things are kind of hard to acknowledge as a problem sometimes. But that's just a theory, I might be wrong. Interestingly enough, inability of sticking to habits had only 3% of votes here, while on YouTube it was 25%. But I guess that lack of consistency is kind of similar to that, sitting at 13%. Lack of confidence also had only 3%, which is something that I expected to be higher as well. But I guess you're pretty confident, good for you. Also, alongside this question, I put a little box where people could write whatever they want. So let's read some of those comments. I porn too much. Porn bad. Kill porn. Horny. Yeah, the results are reflecting the comments, it seems to be. I've been fighting nofap for a long time, same with instant gratification, but my biggest struggle is lack of confidence, especially when it comes down to cold approach. See, this is I feel like a lot of people relate to this, since I personally relate to this a lot. I came a long way, but I still lack some confidence, I still lack some social skills. I feel like this is exactly what younger me would write. The thing is, I believe that confidence comes with self-improvement. It's not something that you should force, it's something that you should get naturally. But that's just how I feel from personal experience. I have almost all the struggles from the list. Well, see, that's fine, because there's a lot of room for improvement, and that's not like uncommon. At least 50% of people who voted have all the struggles. I struggle with these, but the biggest cause for me is always circle back to pornography. I told you guys, I mean, we all know it. Or social skills before, but I've worked on that for around 4 months and got it down. So right now it's productivity. So for the other guy or the other guys who said that social skills are their lack, here's an example of someone who made it. Okay, here we have a long interesting one. The worst thing that could happen to someone on self-improvement journey is self-obsession and wanting perfection. For example, I have a habit like I wake up at 5 every day. Let's say that this morning I failed and woke up at 8. If you're too obsessed with being perfect, this will lead to a negative response, slowly going back to your bad behavior. This may be a problem for a religious person as well, because self-obsession is basically self-idolatry. This is quite something, and I can absolutely see myself falling into this. I'm especially interested in the part where he wrote that self-obsession could be self-idolatry, because that's absolutely true. Anything can become an idol, anything can become something that you worship, that you shouldn't worship, and that's the same with yourself, and that's your ego. The ego is a big word here. A good book to be studied for this is Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday. I read this a long time ago, but I remember a lot of topics about exactly this, and also about confidence and how to gain it naturally. Loneliness. Jesus never leaves you. I fully understand why nofap is good for me, but I tend to give in to the carvings. Join the club. Being aware of it is a big step. There is so many people who are not even aware that nofap is a problem. A lot of more people are saying social skills here than that I see in the polls, so that's interesting. Could social skills and nofap actually be connected? Here's a little theory. Most people who struggle with social skills have nofap as their primary problem, and they click nofap in the chart, but they came down to write also social skills, and then we can connect that and say that social skills are lacking because of nofap, because your masturbation and pornography addiction is making you not be able to look into people's eyes out of shame. So that is some food for thought. Could these two be heavily linked? Almost everything there is my problem as for every man. Yeah, I agree. Not for every man, obviously, but for most people who voted in here, they probably have most of these problems. Would be awesome to make a tier list of struggles. I also struggle with my weight and sleep. A tier list of struggles is a good idea. Do you guys want to see that? I might do that. It has been easier for me to quit all my addictions such as porn, fapping, video games, and social media than improving my social skills. Yeah, social skills can be really tricky because it's the thing that gets you out of the comfort zone. The thing, so, you know. Somebody wrote social skills twice. I told you social skills are gonna be a problem. Well, nofap is a problem. How you talk to others and if you're able to make friends affects people more of the time. I mean, could my theory really hold some water? In conclusion, the biggest problem of self-improvement is nofap, which is sad but also very expected. I always believe that lust is probably the most powerful weapon that the devil has, keeping an entire generations and many generations to come in a lifelong addiction that starts at a young age that so many of us just can never seem to get out of. And that clearly also influences social skills and other aspects of life. And I don't want to leave you after this video with no advice on how to actually be nofap, but honestly the best advice that I could give you for this is to not do it alone. And I don't mean the help of an accountability partner, I don't mean telling your parents. For most of us, this is gonna be almost impossible without the help of God. So pray, ask God to save you from this in the mighty name of Jesus, and he will. What I do is whenever I get the urge, I immediately do a little prayer. I want to say one huge thanks to everyone who was included in this video and anyone who helped. God bless you all. I hope you are happy with how it turned out. And if you like this video and you want to see more from me, here's a guide on how to quit the YouTube addiction that you might benefit from. So if you want to watch it, you can click over here. If not, that's fine. Have a great day and God bless you.